I'm going to show you guys how I would trade AMC moving forward. We're going to do it as a small account challenge. I'm going to start, like a lot of you, with just $100. I'm going to do it in my moomoo account. So if you want to follow along, I'm going to try to give you a weekly update on it, at buy and sell signal. And we're going to see if we can run up $100 to 200 and possibly even to 500. Hey there, YouTube family. This is Josh with Stocks with Josh, and today we're going to take a look at AMC. Is this a buy? Would a technical trader buy? And how would a technical trader trade it? Before we begin, please hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, and do not fall for spammers in the comment section. All right, hey, so I have been, like a lot of you, following AMC for the last year. And, there's a lot of excitement. We saw the amazing amounts of money that people made with GME. There were small fortunes made. And then AMC came along, and it seemed like a second opportunity to get in on some of that money that was being made. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't really get in with the large run-up. I know that Larry did and made some good profits at the beginning, but I was a little bit slow, right? And oftentimes I don't trade things that I don't understand, and I don't trade things that I don't understand the technicals on. But I did continue to watch AMC over the last number of months, and I began to find my own plan to dive into it. And so I'm going to cover a couple options with you guys. Is it still a buy? Would a technical trader trade it? What does it look like? Is it a buy right now? Where's our price entry? Where's our price exit? What's the plan? So, hey, let's go ahead and take a look into the chart. So the largest U.S. pension bought AMC, GameStop, and Berkshire Hathaway stock. Here's what it sold. So the largest public pension in America recently loaded up on some volatile stocks, invested more in Warren Buffett's firm, and trimmed a position in a slipping software stock. In the fourth quarter, California Public Employees Retirement System more than quadrupled investments in AMC Entertainment Holdings and GameStop, two high-profile meme stocks, and dramatically lifted its holdings in Berkshire Hathaway, Buffett's investment firm, and probably the polar opposite of a meme stock. So why would a retirement fund that has a very strong fiduciary responsibility to its customers, why would they invest in meme stocks, right? And I'm going to tell you that more than likely it has to be based on analysts' conclusions. There has to be a reason for them to do that. They're not swing traders. They're not day traders. They're long-term investors. And I'm just going to start off and tell you what I think that reason is. It's a COVID play. So we are going to be getting back into the opening up. These have been beat down, and they fundamentally believe that AMC is a long-term investment. That's exactly what they do. They're long-term investors. So hey, let's go back to our slides. We're going to go through the types of things that I look at, right? So I'm going to just talk to you guys. We're looking at the Gaussian channel. I've showed you guys this before, right? It typically signals long-term direction. So well before AMC ran up, this was signaling that it was in a buy zone. This was a buy signal. This green area from here all the way through this particular area, and then in the run-up was all green, right? All the way through here. And it kind of eventually came to a point where it turned red. And this is where volatility came in. I think there was another effort for a push-up that failed. And we would have been looking for a breakout of this particular zone at that time, like we saw here, but we didn't get it. And that was a signal that we might be turning back into a red pattern that was going to then bring us back to where we began. So these are the types of things I'm going to look at right now, okay? We have just now turned and gotten a buy signal. So this has turned green. And typically this doesn't fluctuate back and forth. If it enters into a green buy signal, this means that it's going to be in a period of time in which we're probably moving up. So we have a buy signal there. We saw this run up, which on Technical Tuesdays, Larry and I absolutely nailed. We gave you guys the price entries. We told you what to expect We told you that we were going to run up to $29.99, that we were going to get a little bit of resistance, but if we're actually $19.99, we said, hey, if we break and close above $20, we're going to, at that point, we're going to see a run up to 29. And then the following week, I said to you guys, hey, this has got some push and pump up. We're going to see a flash up to 34 and then a pullback, right? And I then told you guys again that I was going to begin to look at it at the very low 20s. And at that point, I've waited patiently for it to come down, and it's begun a little bit of a trend line here, right? Now, this is not a trend line that's been validated. You need more than 2 touches on a trend line to validate it as a trend. So this trend could currently break down. I want to point out to you a little bit of the history. So back here, it had this large spike up after a long period of consolidation. And we saw that as a prequel to this run up. And I would actually tell you that this is a very similar scenario that we've come across. So I'm going to be looking for another period of consolidation. And if that trend continues in this green, like we've got this signal here, I'm going to continue to acquire looking for a breakout, right? I want to point out a couple things that are very important so that you guys don't get caught up in the hype. Volume. That's what we're lacking here as a proper signal for AMC. So whatever else you might hear on YouTube, this is the problem right now with AMC. I'm going to take you back to the charts. We don't have the volume. So let's look at that again. So you can see the volume that we had here, okay? This is incredible. This was a prequel to this run-up, was this amazing volume, right? And this is where you could say the smart money got in, right here. They took their position, right? They allowed it to run up. They knew this squeeze was coming. After it ran up, then there was a period of distribution. This is when they sold and took their profits. Then we had the decline, right? And now here we are again, but what's the problem? We don't really have adequate volume, okay? And that's our number one drawback to investing in AMC right now, is that the volume's not there, okay? That's not a great signal for us. We do have bullish divergence on the RSI, which is a positive signal. Okay, I'm going to go down here. So is a short squeeze in sight? Besides having an unusual amount of short sellers betting against the stock, a short squeeze requires factors such as a substantial increase in trading volume to force short sellers to cover their positions. This shows you the volume that has been traded in AMC. This is June, when we had the great big run up, and obviously the volume has just been decimated, right? So we would need to get some volume bars that look like this moving forward for us to believe that this could squeeze. Okay, now this chart, again, charts when you don't know anything about what they're trying to communicate to you can be very confusing. But this chart is simply shows you the price action of the stock, and up here is the short interest. So back in June, right here, the short interest was the absolute peak, but we began to fall, but now since June, we're slowly getting back to the June level. So we are slowly getting back to where there could potentially be a squeeze. And so what we would need to see to add to this, it would be that volume coming in. All right. I'm going to talk to you about what are some of our technical price targets. And I want to remind you that one of the ways that I look at these stocks is to kind of look at other scenarios. So the other example for a meme stock that we have is GME. And the forces that come into play in that are playing on AMC. So we're going to see what was accomplished in GME, and can that also be accomplished in AMC. So let's go back to that. So we talked about this before. We have a fib retracement on GME. During the short squeeze that we had, it ran up, it ran down, and afterwards it hit this level of the 0.382. It hit it twice. And so that's kind of a target for a next potential pop for AMC for me would be that fib level. So if we look at that fib level again on AMC, that's going to put us, if we want to get to that 0.382, that area would be the $50 mark. Okay, so this is where we're hoping to consolidate and eventually get a pop back up to. A lot of that depends on the market as a whole. All right, so I'm just going to ask, are there reasons right now to buy AMC? Are there any valid reasons? And so let's go over them. In March, AMC's management announced that the company had enjoyed the best quarter of the last 2 years. And although the nearly 60 million moviegoers who bought tickets represented only 64% of pre-pandemic levels, the fourth quarter indicated it's only a matter of time before ticket sales are back to normal. So, yeah, I just wanted to mention that I went to the movies this last weekend. I saw Sonic 2 with my nephew, and I was shocked. The theaters were full. It was hard to get a seat. It looked as if things had completely come back to normal. And I have to also admit that I had my doubts whether theaters would come back, whether people would flock to them. But I would have to say I was quite impressed. The theater was packed, lots of people there eating popcorn, having a good time. And so I think this is my first reason to consider buying AMC is that it's a COVID play. It's a post-COVID play. The biggest potential for success in AMC is going to come if their management is able to successfully consolidate their debt and have increased their cash flow and get back to doing business as usual. So this fits the narrative that Aaron has been communicating to investors in 2022. At the beginning of the year, he said his goal was to refinance some of our debt to reduce our interest expense, push out some debt maturities by several years, and loosen covenants. After narrowly avoiding bankruptcy last year, AMC rode the meme stock wave and revitalized its business. Now it must deal with more than $5 billion in debt that it accumulated prior to the pandemic through theater upgrades and acquisitions, which I largely interpret as business as usual. So the third reason that AMC should be considered as a buy is AMC has meme stock power. The so-called smart money has criticized the meme frenzy that kicked off in early 2021, but more than a year later, this trend still continues and has wreaked havoc on hedge funds that bet against AMC stock. Hey, so we're going to review. We're going to trade AMC in our moomoo accounts. If you don't have a moomoo account, you can find a link in the description of this video. Go ahead and fund your account with about $100 because our goal is, this is a small account challenge. We're going to try to do technical trading only on AMC. I'm going to cover it at the end of each of my videos on Technical Tuesday, and we're going to give you the trade entry and the trade exit, and we're going to try to move $100 to 200 or 100, maybe even to 500. This is a bearish market. We might even choose to short AMC. Maybe not. There's an opportunity to the upside. Go ahead and work on that. It takes a little time to move that money in so that you can be ready by next Tuesday. And don't forget to please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. And thank you for joining me on this journey.